Hey there, I'm Johnny from Piano with Johnny, and today I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about the key of E minor. Now, if you really want to understand a key, you really need to know the scales and you need to know the chords associated with that key. So in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you the 3 E minor scales. We call them E natural minor, E harmonic minor, and E melodic minor. And when composers write music in the key of E minor, they'll use one of these 3 scales. So it's very important to know these 3 scales. I'm going to be showing you the scale in each hand. We're going to talk about the fingering. We're going to talk about strategies for learning the scale, speeding up the scale, strategies for being able to accurately cross over and under your notes, play smoothly. We'll talk about the fingering in the left hand. And we do this for each scale: natural minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor. We're going to also talk about the most common chords that are used in the key of E minor. And there are 10 chords, which I would say about 99% of popular songs use. So I'm going to teach you each of these 10 chords. We're going to talk about the most common chord progressions in the key of E minor, so that when you learn this lesson, you go out and you play actual songs, you're going to see these progressions in those tunes. And then at the very end of the lesson, I'm going to teach you an original song called PWJ Active. It's an original song, a little tip of the hat to the band Imagine Dragons. And this is the song that you're going to learn at the end of the lesson. So it's a really easy song. It's super cool. You're going to learn a ton in this lesson. Now in this preview course, you're going to learn a portion of the lesson, and you can find the full-length lesson at pianowithjohnny.com. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're going to get started by first learning the E minor scales. And every minor key has 3 scales associated with it. There's natural minor, there's harmonic minor, and there's melodic minor. And it's very important to learn all 3 scales because depending on the song you're playing, they're going to use one of these 3 scales. Very, very good chance. Now, the scales are very similar to each other. In fact, the only difference between these scales is usually 1 or 2 notes. So once you learn the first scale, it's going to be pretty easy to learn the rest of the scales. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to play the first scale for you. This is called E natural minor, and here's what it sounds like. Okay, very simple. Let's go ahead and play together. We're going to start with a thumb on E, and we're going to go E, F sharp with finger 2, finger 3 on the G, and then you're going to cross under thumb to the A, okay, really important there, and then use the rest of your fingers to play all of the other white notes. Okay, that is the E natural minor scale. Okay, once more, let's go E, F sharp, G, 3rd finger, we're going to cross under thumb to A, then B, C, D, and E. Okay? Now, if you were to play this scale going down, it would be E, D, C, B, A, and then you cross over finger 3, that's the middle finger, to G, and then you can end on the E. Okay? That is the E minor scale up and down, and something I recommend that you do is just practice this scale up and down and just work on crossing under and making it as smooth as possible. Basically, you don't want to hear a gap between the G and the A. You want that to be smooth, okay? So work on that going up and then work on it coming down, okay? Now, one of the goals with our lessons is to speed things up, because if you can play it quickly, easily, then when you play it slowly, it's much easier to play. So something you can work on is pause the video and just see if you can speed it up, right? This is a great tempo, and you can just go up and down, and then once you get it there, then speed it up even more. Okay? E natural minor scale. Now, if you read sheet music, we have the notation here on the left side of the screen. You can see the notes here, you can see the finger numbers that you use, but if you don't read sheet music, that's okay as well. You don't need to be able to read sheet music for these lessons, but this is here as a reference for you, okay? That is the right hand fingering, and you may notice that on this last note here, I put a finger 1 as the finger, okay? And you might be thinking, well, Johnny, you used finger 5 when you got to the E. Well, the reason I use the 1 there is because if you wanted to play this scale in multiple octaves, then instead of going to the pinky on the last note, you would go to the thumb, and then what you just did is you just reset your position, meaning you could continue that scale all the way up the piano, okay? So you sort of have 2 options. If you want to only do 1 octave, you just end on the pinky, and if you want to go multiple octaves, you end on the thumb, and then you can continue going, okay? That is E natural minor scale, and E natural minor just has that F sharp in it, okay? That's the best way to think of E natural minor, is it's all white notes, except when you, instead of playing an F, you play an F sharp, okay? E natural minor, awesome scale. By the way, this is the relative scale to G major, okay? If you've studied the key of G major, you may have noticed that like G major, E minor has all white notes except for an F sharp, okay? This is also the definition of G major, okay? So they're relative keys, okay? And by the way to find a relative minor and major key is they're 3 half steps apart, okay? So if you're in E minor and you go up 1, 2, 3 half steps, you're to the key of G major, and that is the relative major, okay? The same scale, just starting on different notes. Let's go ahead and do the left hand fingering. You're doing a great job. This is E natural minor. Go ahead and play along with me. We're starting on the pinky, the 5th finger, and we're gonna walk this up to the B, and then you're gonna go C with the 3rd finger, D and E. Okay, one more time. Let's walk it up. C with the 3rd finger, D and E. Okay? Now, if you want to play this scale going down, you just use the same fingering. Start from the top, come down to the C with the middle finger, and cross under to the B. Okay? And now you can finish the scale. Okay? This crossing over and crossing under point is very crucial to learning your scales, okay? Because it allows you to maneuver up and down the piano. And once again, you want this to be very smooth. When you cross over, you do not want to hear a gap, okay? You want those notes to all be connected to each other. And one thing I recommend to my students is as you're playing the scale going up, you're sort of leaning the wrist to the right. Okay, see, I'm sort of leaning to the right, and as I take the scale down, I'm leaning to the left to where my thumb can get to that B in time, okay? And the thumb just sort of crosses under the other fingers, and bam, I'm there, okay? You see how that works? All right, that is E natural minor scale. And same thing with the left hand, practice the scale, getting it smooth, and then practice speeding it up, okay? You can go as fast as you want. That's the E natural minor scale. Now, for these lessons on minor keys, we're not going to do multiple octaves. We do study multiple octaves for the major keys, but since we have 3 minor scales, I want to be able to move you a little bit faster through the lesson, so that is the E natural minor scale. The next scale is what we call E harmonic minor, okay? E harmonic minor is just 1 note difference from E natural minor, which you just learned, okay? Here's E harmonic minor. Okay, kind of has a Middle Eastern sound to it, okay? And with this scale, it's all of the same notes, except instead of playing a D, you play a D sharp, okay? It's a raised 7, and it has its own kind of sound to it, okay? Some composers, when they're writing, they'll use natural minor for the basis of the harmony in their piece. Other composers will use harmonic minor. They like the sound of the raised 7. So this is why we learn multiple versions of minor, okay? Once again, go ahead and play along with me. We have E, F sharp, G, cross under to A with the thumb, B, C, D sharp, and E. That is E harmonic minor. And if you want to take this down, start on the E, and then cross over finger 3 to G, F sharp, and E, okay? E harmonic minor, very cool scale. We love to use different variations, and then practice speeding this up. So take it up, work on smooth transitions on the crossover and on the cross under, and then try speeding it up. Okay, the hardest part will be getting that thumb under and then the 3-finger over, okay? So really make sure you're paying attention to that. That is E harmonic minor, and just like natural minor, if you wanted to play this in multiple octaves, you could replace the last note with the thumb and then continue the scale all the way up the piano, okay? In fact, you can go all the way up to the top. and use the same fingering. Now coming down on these scales, if you're doing multiple octaves, let's say you played the scale and you went up 2 octaves, how do you play it coming down? Well, you would come down as normal, but then when you get to the E, you use the forefinger to the D sharp, okay? That's how you do multiple octaves coming down. Let's go ahead and do E harmonic minor scale going up. Remember, the goal of this lesson is to be able to play these basic scales and understand what they are, okay? Let's go ahead and start on the E, and here's the fingering. We're gonna walk E, F sharp, G, A, B, C with the middle finger, C or D sharp, and E. There's that raised 7th, okay? Let's take it down to 3, come down to thumb, and then down to E, okay? E, harmonic minor, cool scale, okay? Work on this, and just work on speeding it up in smooth transitions, right? All those notes should feel connected to one another, okay? No gaps. All right, very good. By the way, you also want nice hand position. If you can see my hand over here, I have nice elevated wrists, okay? See how my fingers are curled? You don't want to have flat fingers. You don't want to play like this with flat fingers. You want to have a nice elevated position. Wrist is up like this. And notice when I play, do you see how my fingers stay bent? Really important that you have excellent technique while you're doing this. So make sure that your fingers are bent just like this, okay? Nice elevated position. Make sure you're sitting up straight. Make sure your chair is high enough so that you're sitting to where your elbows should be relatively level with the keyboard, right? My elbow is here and the keyboard is here, so it's nice level there. Okay, so we just did E harmonic minor, working on speeding this up in the left hand, okay? And just, again, speed it up to where it's nice and comfortable. We're only doing 1 octave. And then you can also do multiple octaves. You could take this up, and you could go to the E, and then go to the finger 4 on the F sharp, and then come up to the E. That would be multiple octaves. And then you could take this down, right? See what I did there? So I'm coming down, coming under to the thumb. See my fingering there? So you can do all of these scales on multiple octaves, okay? So go ahead and practice that. Something that you can also do is try playing the hands together. We're not going to go into that as much in this lesson, but you could try it to where the hands are playing together. And that's a pretty nice little exercise. If you really want to get comfortable with these scales, is try playing them together, okay? So that is E harmonic minor scale. The difference between these 2 scales is that the natural minor follows basically the key signature of G, which has 1 sharp, F sharp. Harmonic minor follows the same key signature which has 1 sharp, F sharp, except you raise the 7th, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. And by the way, if you're not familiar with this little sharp here, this is part of our key signature. This tells you what key you're in. And usually if you see 1 sharp like this, which is an F sharp, it means you're either in the key of G major or E minor. It's always going to be one of the 2. And usually you can tell which key you're in depending on the chord progression, okay? But just want you to know that if you see 1 sharp, you're either in the key of G major or F or E minor. Okay, let's go to the next scale, E melodic minor. This is the 3rd minor scale that you really need to know if you want to play comfortably in the key of E minor. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this preview lesson, and if you like this lesson, you can get the full-length lesson at pianowithjonny.com. And if you want to learn more about the piano, we have a comprehensive course catalog where you learn all of the keys, as well as different styles of music. If you like jazz or blues or boogie-woogie or pop piano, we have roadmaps where you can learn each of these styles. And you can also check out the Piano with Jonny membership. We have a thriving member community of students who want to learn and grow at the piano, here to help each other out and encourage you along the journey. And as a member at Piano with Jonny, you get access to all of the video courses and a huge selection of sheet music. We also do live events every month where you can interact with me live and you can ask me your practice questions. And we get to talk about music and I get to encourage you at the piano. So be sure to check out the Piano with Jonny membership. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next course.